Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we're taking a look at 13 Sacred Nights Oracle, a yearly solstice tradition by Laura J. Day. This is the mass market edition from Beyond Words Publishing. Thank you so much to Beyond Words for sending this one over to me for purposes of review and so that I could share it with you. So it says, reclaim the true magic of the solstice season, a beautiful ritual with the potential to transform your life. Receive divine guidance and co create a meaningful roadmap for the coming year with this magical winter solstice oracle. Inspired by ancient wisdom and the rhythms of nature, this 13-night practice invites you into the womb of winter, where radiant darkness and potent stillness create a sacred space for reflection and intention setting. Over the 13 nights, you'll nurture the rebirth of your own inner radiance, aligning with cosmic cycles and the return of the light on the horizon. The richly illustrated cards and full color guidebook featuring animals, herbs, and crystals are designed as helpful tools for tapping into your inner wisdom, awakening your creative potential, and strengthening your connection with the divine. Let the 13 Sacred Nights Oracle inspire you to slow down and embrace the season of darkness as you set the stage for a year of growth, harmony, and synchronicity. Step into a deeper, more nourishing holiday tradition and join the movement to return the soul to the solstice. So, this is a deck that is meant to be used during the solstice season. So, from the winter solstice all the way through for 13 nights after that, you're meant to be using this. It's a ritual to end your year and start your next year with intention and ritual and just presence, right? So that's what the whole thing is meant to kind of bring to your life, to your practice. They have re-released this. This was an indie deck, and I do have the indie edition. So we'll look at them side by side here in a moment. There's a lot changed in this guidebook. There's a lot more in this guidebook than was in the indie, and the cards for this edition are larger. So if you're using them because what you're going to do is you're going to pull one for each month, and if you're keeping them up on your altar during the year, they're larger so you can see them better, so that's great. And I think the printing is a little bit clearer and brighter as well, but we'll look at them side by side. So this is the mass market edition here, and then let me get the indie out of its box. It came in a drawer box like this, and it used to be called the 13 Holy Nights instead of the 13 Sacred Night. So they changed the title. Okay, so you can clearly see here that the backs are different and the cards are larger on this is the mass market edition. This is the indie edition. So the cards are larger and they're both larger than tarot. So this is a tarot size card. And this you can see, they're both quite large. I'm just going to pop the cards over here for a moment just so that we can take a closer look at the books side by side. So as you can see, the book was a lot larger. The box was a lot larger for this one, but you have a more compact book, but this book actually has a lot more in it. So as you can see in this one, all you have in the front is here's the table of contents, which you need because they're separated by animal, herb, and mineral in an alphabetical order that way. And then you get an author's note, which she just talks about what she does and how she uses this practice in her own life, gives a little bit of her own story. And then what they are, what is the 13 holy nights or the 13 sacred nights, and how does it work, and then what each card represents, and then how to use it, how to actually do the practice. So then it goes right into the write up for the cards. It gave you some keywords, the write up, and that was all. And in this one, you still get all of that plus a lot extra. So let's just take a closer look at this. So first of all, the pages are glossy, and then the other one they were matte. And here's your table of contents still, because like I said, you need that. This one is filled with quotes and more information about how her practice has evolved with the 13 Sacred Nights and more things that she's doing with it since she wrote that first book. And then it talks more about this practice and the pagan roots of it. And it goes, I mean, you get pages and pages and pages of what this practice is and different traditions and how it spans different traditions. It's not just something that you find in one religion or one culture or another. You find it over several different cultures where people practice, harness this time, harness this energy within these days, right? It kicks off usually on December 21st in the Northern Hemisphere and it goes through January 6th. So you're going to use these cards and whatever other practice that you use, add to it. You can do your own practice. She gives you some ideas in here, ways that you can do it. Maybe all you really need to do this practice is this deck and something to write on. You can take notes in your phone or journal. That's all. You don't really need anything else, but you could, if you want, to bring other things into it. There are ideas in here for other ways that you could, kind of spice it up or whatever. But I think that, like I said, I've been doing this. I've done it 3 years. This will be my fourth year with this practice, and the I get the most out of it when I sit with it at night with a cup of tea and the deck, read through the book, make my notes in my journal, and I like to put mine in the journal for next year. So I always pull out whatever the new journal is going to be for the next year and I write all of my notes for these nights in the front of that journal. So that way I can find them and look back at them as the months go on. But she talks about how sometimes I think she talks in here, I think the author mentions in here how she keeps her own sacred nights journal that she can look back into. So she keeps, when she finishes 13 nights, she'll just have that journal sit, and not put anything else in it. And then the next year, she'll start again where she left off in that same journal. That's a way to do it as well. So you start at the winter solstice preparing. So from the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd, you're going to gather everything you need. Look through your deck. Make sure you have all your journals, your candles, your smudge sticks, whatever it is you need to do this, right? Think about if you're going to do creative projects during this time, it's a good time to maybe do a vision board during this time. I used to work on my word of the year journal during this time. So I think that, you know, all of these things, you want to gather them up in those 3 days. So then the first night you're going to pull cards is the 24th of December. You're going to pull one from each of the sections that we saw at the beginning. So one animal, one herb, and one mineral kind of for the year. And the one that you pull on the night of the 24th, those 3 cards will represent your year. And then every night thereafter, each card is going to represent your a month of the year. So on the 25th, that night, that card that you pull you're going to shuffle the whole deck together, and that card will represent January. And then the 26th is going to represent February, and so forth and so on. And you're going to do it for 13 nights. So you pull your cards, you do whatever you want to do with your ritual for the night, and then you keep that so that you can look back at it as the year goes on, however you would like to do it. You can put the cards in envelopes to pull out later. You can journal on it. You can read through the book to see what it says about the card and then reflect on that. You can just notate it. I've done it a few different ways. Well, the first 2 years, I pulled the cards and I notated in my journal after reading through the book with a cup of tea, just sitting and intentionally. And then after I finished with that, I would work on my word of the year journal. And through that process of just being intentional with the end of my year and the beginning of the next year, I would find my word of the year. This last past year, I used this in conjunction with the Omen Days that I did with Carrie's Mystical Musings over on her channel. And that was so then I didn't do the part with the book and stuff. I just wrote it down in my journal, and then every month I need to go back and look through the book and look at those omens that I wrote down and things like that. So there's more to it than just pulling the cards, and it talks about a lot of that kind of stuff. Like a lot of the things that we did for Omen Days are in here, where you are, paying attention to your dreams, paying attention to the signs around you. She suggests some things like going for walks, lighting candles, things like that. And all of those things are going to take you time to kind of grasp. So that's why I'm showing the deck now, because I think that, it might take more than 3 days of looking through this before you start on the 25th or the 24th to really grasp and decide what it is you want to do, because you're not going to do everything. You can pick and choose what feels comfortable to you. Different ways you can do this practice. And she answers some frequently asked questions, and we go through, I think there's 45 pages, no, 40 7 pages of information in the front of this book, whereas this one just had 16 pages and this one has 45. So you can see there's a lot more information in this new edition because, you know, she's been doing it for a while. That deck came out the indie deck came out 5 years ago. So in 5 years, she's got more information to share, and it's all here in the book. And then when you get to the write-ups, those have changed a little bit as well. So you still get those keywords, but you also get a quote for each one now and a ritual practice for each one, which you did not have in the indie edition. So here's Bumblebee. You get your keywords, your quote, the write-up, and then a ritual practice. So there's this spread before each section, which makes it easy to find the sections in the guidebook, which is nice. So if you're looking for herbs, you can see the black line there to tell you that's where the herbs are going to start. That's where the minerals are going to start. So that's very helpful in finding things. In the back of the book, you just have a some further reading, a note section for her notes, and then acknowledgments and about the author. Okay, so the cards are this photographic collage art with the title of the card at the bottom, and you start with the animal cards just so that you know. Over here, we have the mass market edition that you can now get from Beyond Words or on Amazon. And this one is the old indie edition, which I got from the creator. I'm not sure if they're still available or not. So we'll go through them side by side so you can see the differences. There are a few little minor differences, but the biggest difference is the guidebook and the size of the cards. So I would say like the little differences in the cards are just minor, very minor. So we have the Arctic Fox. And again, we have the mass market edition on this side. And this is the indie. Bat. I did appreciate the change in the color of the titles because this gold can sometimes get lost. Bear. Beaver, like here in the beaver card. Bumblebee. Crow. Deer. Dolphin. Love that. Dragonfly. This one, they definitely bumped up the glow factor and the sort of emergence from the water look of this card, which I thought was nice because in the guidebook it says we know her as a creature of light and air, but Dragonfly spends most of her life underwater. She can remain in her larval or nymph form for up to 10 years. And when she suddenly decides to leave her watery world behind, her exoskeleton splits open and she literally crawls out of her skin, emerging as a newly born winged creature. Dragonfly then takes to the skies where she proves to be an amazingly adept and agile flyer, and it goes on. So I think that I can see that sort of bursting through the water kind of magical element. I could see it a little bit here, but I can definitely see it more in this image. So I appreciated the change in that one. And Firefly. We definitely have a big change in this one because the person is in a different position. Frog. Grasshopper. Hedgehog. We have a couple of changes on this card. So we went from whale to humpback whale. And of course, the color of the title. And then we have a male presenting figure here for a little bit of inclusion. So that was good. Jaguar. Lynx. Owl. Peacock. Rabbit. Ram. Red-tailed hawk. Seahorse. Snake. Spider. Tortoise. Wolf. And now we're on to the plants. We have a big change on Angelica. So they've taken out the angel presence here, which was meant to represent Archangel Michael, because this plant corresponds with Archangel Michael. And to make it more inclusive, they have added here the sacred geometry with this moth question mark or butterfly. I'm not sure which one this is. So that's a big change for the mass market edition, just to make it more um, so that more people might be comfortable using it, because some people aren't comfortable with angelic representation. So we have cinnamon, dandelion, elder tree, lavender, meadowsweet, another big change just in the model, mistletoe, mugwort, rose, rosemary, vervain. Every time I see this, I think about the Vampire Diaries and the originals. Violet and willow. So then we're on to the crystals. We have amber, amethyst, celestite, charlite, which is one of my absolute favorite crystals, emerald, garnet. They've changed that one as well, different model, different like the card. I see something different because here we have grounding in a different way. We're grounding through the chakra energy, and here we're grounding by being a part of the earth, connecting with the earth, that kind of thing. This one is more mystical. This one is more earthbound. So I think I like this better, to be honest, the mass market one. Lapis becomes lapis lazuli. And yeah, definitely big change on this one as well. And I think, again, I think I like the mass market edition better. Moldavite, opal, quartz, rainbow obsidian. Sorry, these are kind of in the way. Rhodochrosite, definitely big change here. Now, in this one, I prefer the indie on this one. So, 2 and 1. Star sapphire. And the last one, oh, that's the last one. And that's the last one. Here are the backs again. So the cards are glossy, no edging, and they fan pretty good. I didn't find them to be too sticky. So that's good. They're not the um, super slick gloss, but they're not sticky either. So easy to do that. And they're bendy enough to be able to riffle shuffle. If you have bigger hands than me, you should be able to riffle shuffle these with no problem. Yeah, so I'm able to side riffle without any issues, and bridge. So I don't think you'll have any problems if you have bigger hands than me. I just have small hands. So let's read for tortoise, number 25. There's no numbers actually on the cards. I don't know if that was an omission or if they meant to put numbers on the cards and that's why there's numbers in the guidebook or what. But if you want to read that for yourself, you can take a screenshot. Tortoise, presence, maturity, experience, and wisdom, grounding energies. Elderhood marks the time when we distill a life full of experiences into wisdom and pass on this synthesized wisdom as our legacy to future generations. Rosemary Gladstar. Tortoise knows how to take her sweet time, and why not? A certain calm, steady wisdom arises when your life spans beyond 150 years. Tortoise plods calmly along, knowing that there is no reason to rush, that there is really nowhere else to rush off to, since we are all eternally in the now, whether we like it or not. No matter how hard you try to be somewhere else, wherever you go, there you are in the now. Our fast paced, mechanized, material driven culture insists that we dash around perpetually 3 steps ahead of ourselves, as if there are always somewhere better or more important to be. Tortoise knows better. If she is moseyed into your cards, take a deep breath, pause, slow down, take a long, delicious look around, and notice the richness of the present moment. Tortoise knows that when we rush, we miss out on the miracle of the now. The ancient reptile shows us how to be calm and steady, patient, peaceful, and present. Quietly gathering knowledge as she goes, Tortoise models the exquisite depth and beauty of maturity, experience, and wisdom. She patiently waits while modern culture chases obsessively after its own tail, grabbing after the shiny illusion of eternal youth and newness, knowing that we will eventually return to her, exhausted and thirsty for the deeply quenching beauty of divine wisdom. In a world increasingly fixated on youthfulness and a particular version of external beauty, the true value of wisdom, born from decades of lived experience, is underappreciated. The appearance of tortoise in your cards signals that this may be a time to seek out an experienced mentor to help you move through some challenges in your life, or perhaps that you are ready to mentor another, sharing some of your life experience and knowledge. In either case, tortoise reminds us to move slowly and deliberately, with care and without haste. The wisdom of Tortoise is not the lofty, head in the clouds, intellectual kind. Her firm, square shaped underbelly is always close to the earth, making her intimately familiar with and ancient guardian of grounding energies. In sacred geometry, the square or cube is the shape associated with the earth herself. Thus, the divine wisdom Tortoise embodies is thoroughly grounded, sensible, and enduringly relevant. Tortoise can help you uncover solutions that are down to earth, practical, sound, direct, and wise. If you are feeling a disconnect between yourself and your inner tortoise, go for a barefoot walk in the dirt, grass, sand, or rocks. You'll find her there in your tangible connection to our Mother Earth. Ritual practice, grounded release. And then I'll just put that there. You can screenshot it and read it for yourself if you're interested. There is a practice there. So those are the cards for the 13 Sacred Nights Oracle. And like I said, you're going to pull one of each section for your overall year, and then one for each month, and then, go through the book and maybe do the practice. And you can do whatever you want. You can do the practice during the nights, or you can save that ritual for the month that it applies to. You can put some tarot cards with it. There are so many ideas. The book gives you some. As you use it, you'll come up with your own. It's a really great practice. I find it to be a good way to be intentional and direct with the last days of my year and then first days of my new year, which I find to be really, really important to make me slow down and be intentional with those days, not just let them fly by. So if you think you might be interested in picking up this deck and trying out this practice for yourself, I will definitely put the links in the description box below. You can pick it up directly from Beyond Words, or you can get it from Amazon. I always put the Amazon affiliate link down below because I'm an Amazon affiliate. And if you do decide to buy from Amazon, I appreciate it if you use those links because it helps me out a little bit and it doesn't cost you anything. All you need to do is log in, click the link first, log in, add the item to your cart, and when you check out, they credit me a few cents. It doesn't cost you any extra, and it's all goes right back into the channel. So I appreciate it when you guys use the links. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with anybody who you think might be interested in a practice like this or a deck like this. Hype the video. It will help the YouTube algorithm push it out there as well. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot and oracle. I have many more to come this year and into next year. So definitely subscribe and join me here on the channel. Love to have you around. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye bye.